Alright, time for the second Patreon requested movie. As I said, this one comes from David D. Gregorio. And what has he requested? Why, the Powerpuff Girls movie. Another good choice. Let's talk about them, shall we? Created by Craig McCracken, known for other projects like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and the more recent Wander Over Yonder, as well as being assisted by Lauren Faust for the same things, the Powerpuff Girls was one of the many spectacular programs found on Cartoon Network, and probably the second series I remember I devotedly watched despite being intended for female audiences. The first was Sailor Moon, but really, I didn't care. Why would I? It was awesome! Fun characters, lots of action, great writing. Like the current My Little Pony series, you can still find enjoyment out of it despite being outside the target audience, and if they can do that, then they have something for everyone. Of course, like most things, I did lose interest after a point and I didn't get a chance to look into the anime they had, or that one reboot they had. And I know they're coming out with another. But hopefully I remember enough of the original to where I can make use of it for this review. Since after all, it is the movie we're looking at, and naturally, it's a theatrical take on their origin story. How does this fit in with animals, even though the requests should have a particular animal theme to them? You'll see. So, let's take a look what they've done. We open in
the city of Townsville is in some serious trouble. Day after day, crime, lawlessness, and evil are running rampant.
Sounds more like Citiesville to me. But yeah, pre-Powerpuff Girl life must have been really bad for these people if all the known villains were this active. While even Fuzzy Lumpkins looks terrifying. Seriously, he's normally so goofy and carefree for a redneck who sometimes causes trouble, but here he's holding up a convenience store with a shotgun with red shot eyes. Even the Gang Green Gang looks freaking intimidating. Must be the extra animation budget, but as the narrator said, this man, Professor Utonium, despite the troubles he faces, including his crazy chimpanzee named Jojo, is planning on making the city a much better place, or as the origin story goes, he's going to make 3 perfect little girls with sugar, spice, and everything nice. All that's missing is 35 liters of water, 20 kilograms of carbon, 4 liters of... Oh, and of course a splash of Chemical X. How silly of me to forget. The resulting explosion not only causes the title screen to appear, but it also gives birth to our title characters.
Hi! What's your name?
Oh, my name is, Professor Utonium. Hello!
Hello, Professor Utonium. It's very nice to meet you.
I created life! I am God! But wait, their arms. No! They're total abominations! How will they function in society? I'm a failure! Well, they waste no time in getting their introductions out of the way. I expected the professor to be more in shock over the fact that he created life, but I'm more amazed the girls don't question their own existence in this world. But no matter, they get named, of course. Blossom, voiced by Kathy Cavadini. Bubbles, voiced by Tara Strong. And no, I don't care how overused she is, she's still awesome. And Buttercup, voiced by Elizabeth Daily. Now that we got that out of the way, how will we spend the rest of this origin story?
Gifts! Birthday! It's your birthday! I should get gifts! Wow, I can't believe it. I wanted to make some kids that I could teach good and bad, right and wrong, and in turn maybe they do some good for this terrible town, and now I can! All I gotta do is be a good parent. Note to self, good parents don't leave their kids home alone.
Yeah, the humor is still like with the show. I mean, ignoring the fact that he was only intending on just making regular children that teach right and wrong, like any father would, to somehow change the town, it's still that so fun it doesn't take itself too seriously, yet knows when to be serious, tone, but in theatrical movie form. If there's one thing about TV shows going to movie format is when most of the normal writing crew is on board, It makes the shift feel more natural without alienating the original audience. Plus, I think, as we go further in, it's strong enough to where it could attract new people who haven't gotten into the series by now. Though we'll have to see if that's the case. Also, after realizing they have superpowers thanks to the Chemical X, he's still okay with it since they're still very nice.
It's the best gift ever, Dad.
Yes, it is.
Oh, and JoJo's brain got bigger and his skin is green. Odd. But I bet we'll never see him again. So the professor spends time with the girls and tries to keep up with their incredible abilities, but even then they still have to come to a standstill when it comes to bedtime. Only a day, and they've shown just how adorable they can be, and you can sense the love that the professor is getting from all this. It goes to show that even single fathers can make great parents when they show a similar compassion for their family. Even artificially created ones. Geez, twice in a row? They must be really loving it. Though now the next challenge is getting them used to school. As they get taken to Pokey Oaks, and while it looks like the girls will be fine, the professor is worried their powers might be, I guess, bothersome? Come to think of it, shouldn't you have thought ahead and teach the girls proper use of their abilities in case something did happen? So far, nothing's forced them to do anything major, but now that I said that, I'm sure something is going to cause them to go, oh hey, there we go! Ultimate Power Tag! Now, before you all go cry, this is like Man of Steel, they're destroying the city and hurting civilians. This is nothing like Man of Steel. For that matter, it isn't even like Age of Ultron either. Whereas Man of Steel had poor implications on whether or not Superman knows ahead of time to avoid civilian casualties, while Age of Ultron did, but both still allowed heroes causing city destruction, here the girls aren't heroes yet, and are just acting like little children would if said children had superpowers. They don't know what they're doing is wrong. They were only born yesterday. They have no clue on the harm they're causing, so at the very least, it's somewhat excusable that this is happening. If anything, the fault lies with the professor for not doing anything to teach the girls to not do this, because this will likely cause everlasting repercussions.
Oh boy.
Oh hey, it's the mayor! And he's acting serious! I don't ever recall him being this serious outside of when his hat is in danger. Like, tell me, what's he gonna do about this situation?
Mayor, what are you doing? We're in a serious pickle.
Exactly.
Hello.
The usual cue call.
Of course. He wouldn't be the mayor if he wasn't an idiot. I love how the pickle guy looks like a younger version of him, but with a more wrinkled nose. But still, by the time that pickle reaches his mouth, he'll be in for one hell of a pickle surprise!
Girls, are you okay?
Tag! You're it, Professor!
And that's the surprise!
Pickle surprise! Don't think you should use them in public anymore.
Why?
Well, your powers are very special and unique. And although we have a lot of fun doing unique things around the house, out in Townsville, people don't really understand just how special you girls are yet. And unfortunately, people often get scared or angry when they don't understand something special or unique.
Now, this tends to be true. People easily become frightened of what they don't understand and will often act out when they are afraid. Usually, the answer is to give it time for people to let it sink in, and had things go out better for them, they probably would take this new thing a lot better. Especially since despite being the city that would have no problem fixing stuff all the time, they are yet to be tolerant of the girls' actions. So naturally, this means everyone treats the girls like outcasts, and even the professor gets arrested for having creating them in the first place.
He's not coming. He hates us. He totally hates us. No, he probably just got held up. Or maybe the car broke. Or maybe he just forgot. Or maybe he hates us.
Well, with that defeatist attitude, he might. So they try to walk home and see some political satire that pretty much lets them know that everyone considers them freaks. They miss the poor professor making an honest statement that'd make anyone think otherwise. But for now, the girls need to find shelter. But uh-oh, gang green gang!
Oh, what's the matter? Did somebody get washed?
Seriously, freaking intimidating! And I think this was when the show adopted its new animation style, that I think was also in shows like My Life as a Teenage Robot. They get rescued by what appears to be JoJo of all things, who earlier was up to no good, but maybe he might have something nice to say.
I dare not listen, for I have been lashed by harsh tongues for too long. Alas, my little ones, I do not rock, for I, Jojo, am a monster.
Oh, come now. With a name like JoJo, you can't be all that
I
bad.
despise you for the very things that make you special, because you don't fit in, because you are a freak!
Well, at least you weren't like the orangutan from Man's Best Friend. It had it much worse. JoJo at first seems to relate to the girls for being treated like outcasts, but that evil smile says otherwise. Nevertheless, he begins to trick the girls into helping him construct what he calls a help the town to make it a better place machine. First, after encouraging them to use their powers again, by having them go through an active volcano. I don't remember if they could do that naturally, just so they can harness the energy from the Earth's core. After that, they begin going to different parts of the world to gather the necessary materials to build the structure and interior. Now, despite what it obviously means for later, I do like this sequence. Mainly because it shows the kind of good things the girls could do using their powers, instead of using them for destruction. It can be constructive. They can do just about anything as long as it's within their capabilities. Plus, the backgrounds look nice to look at in this style. The last thing they need is Chemical X, and I guess all they need was a small vial of it, and as a reward, JoJo takes the three to the zoo, where I'm surprised none of the guests noticed the bug-eyed freaks they were gawking on about, and of course JoJo wants them to go to the Primate Plaza with him. Well, who am I to judge? After all, he did have a Playchimp magazine during that sleepover episode. But wait, they're all reacting to getting their photo taken. Why? Well, that's why. He's putting a tracking device on all of them. Or something. We'll see what it is later. At any rate, he tells them that soon, things will be better tomorrow, and it would be all because of them. They return home, and it's here the professor returns after being in jail.
Oh, girls, thank goodness you're okay. I'm so sorry. I'm a terrible, terrible parent. You must hate me for not picking you up from school. But it's not my fault. It's this town. They've gone crazy. It's like they've never seen kids playing before. I knew your powers would take some getting used to, but jail? Lawsuits? Angry mobs? What's next?
Well, you thought wrong. Now, if it were just a physical mutation, it probably wouldn't be so bad. But full-on superpowers? Yeah, no. Especially if they happen to be children who have no control over them. Meanwhile, Jojo begins his big operation as he uses his machine to teleport all the monkeys and apes he darted back to his place, and now you're starting to see why this movie was eligible for review. Because not only is this Jojo's origin story, but it also features him using a monkey army. This is Battle of the Planet of the Apes, the Powerpuff Girls edition. My God, enough with the laughter! We get it! Move on! So in synchronizing fashion, both sides prepare for the big day. One side thinking they did good, while the other is doing bad. And damn, them monkeys multiplied overnight. Why, even enough to overrun the entire city! I don't think the zoo had that many. And of course, who's there to give credit where it's due?
Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup! I couldn't have done it without ya!
Jojo, what happened? This isn't making the town a better place!
Yes, it is! For me! The hobo formerly known as Jojo is no more. From this day forward, I shall be known as Mojo Jojo! For too long, apes and monkeys have been under the thumb of man. Well, the time has come to oppose that thumb and take hold of what is rightfully ours, the world!
I don't know. Something about that motive seems off. I mean, if a monkey got super intelligent, would he actually gain that motive if all he ever was before was a chaotic lab monkey? Where would he even get the thought that humans oppress monkeys? At this point, the professor doesn't know what to believe and can only say one thing.
I thought you were good.
Yeah! Woo! All right! I rock so hard. For I, Mojo Jojo, have succeeded in my first, greatest, and most brilliant plan ever. And I, Mojo Jojo, shall be King of the Planet of the Apes!
Oh, shit. There goes the planet.
You shall be king. Preposterous. What? How dare you? For it is I who is the one most suited to be ruler. Those are my clothes. I, Ojo Tango, shall be Simian Supreme. No, Ojo, Mojo. As I unleash the offensive omnipotence of the oppressive orangutan. Hold on.
Oh, please tell me this doesn't go on for too long.
Ah, baboon kaboom with my baboon bot will bit of bomb! And if you don't like it, you can sniff my baboon bot bombs!
But we, the Global Patrol, has brothers in arms, arming to form a chain of command that will reach out and take hold of your world.
I, Hotta Water, am boiling mad, for you are all right behind the ears. Therefore, I shall unleash a scalding torrent to drown you all out, for I don't give a... Watch your mouth!
I, cha-ching, cha-ching, symbolize chaotic calamity.
Shall rain on your parade.
We get it! You're Spartacus, he's Spartacus, they're Spartacus, I'm Spartacus! But there can only be one though, and that's him, Mojo Jojo, the true king of the monkey villains. Meanwhile, far off into the asteroid belt, we see the girls. Well, they could survive lava, so whatever. Pouting about how they were duped and now hated by everyone. It's pretty depressing, all things considered. This is probably the worst possible situation they could be in, and even more than usual. This is the result of not knowing what was good or wrong, and being taken advantage of. And to happen to children? Well, imagine you were born just a day ago. You have the capacity to understand human concepts, but regardless, you're still just a newborn. You only are told something is good, but in reality it turns out bad, because someone is taking advantage of you. In terms of Powerpuff Girls, this is like the time when they created Bunny, but for movie concepts, this greatly reminds me of Chappie, a movie that brings out the worst in humanity, yet is very realistic when it comes to people using others with very special abilities for their own gain. If this movie teaches anything, is that indeed, part of not understanding what makes a unique individual special can result in bringing out the worst of people. And it never helps when people like Mojo Jojo take advantage of those gifts, as it only brings out more hate. At least, unlike Chappie, the people are more tolerable and not spiteful in the end. But yes, the movie was still good, it's just a love-hate thing. The girls keep hearing the chaos back on Earth. Quick, do what Clark did and think of an island. But soon respond as soon as they hear the professor getting choked. This finally springs them into action, as while they go to save him, they also end up saving the townspeople. Now, saving is good and all, but it's missing something.
Get your hands off him, you darn dirty ape! Buttercup! You're a genius! I am? She is? Yeah! The one way to stop the monkeys, save the town, and find the professor is to use our powers to... Better yet, watch!
Finally! Hard-hitting action. 3 little girls packing huge punches in their tiny little stubby arms. Yeah! Hell yeah! Yeah! Wait. Now that I think about it, these are still technically zoo monkeys. Are they really at fault? Nah, I'd say beat them until they apologize for space chimps. 1 and 2. Finally, it's time to go save the professor.
Not so fast! Mojo Jojo!
Oh, they said it!
Look at the widow here was here to save their daddy.
No, girls, save yourselves!
Sorry, Professor! We can take this chimp down easy. Nothing they can do can stop us.
I think this is the first time where a Powerpuff Girl villain would actually commit murder. Not the usual, ha ha, I beat you elimination method, but actual murder. Only in Movie Land do they up the scale. Somehow, having even more Chemical X on hand, he jabs himself in the brain to put it in him and grow up into a real King Kong. Really, the movie makes him to be all kinds of awesome. This might just be his greatest moment in history. Sure, he'll fail in the end, but look how close he gets! This is badass villain monkey now! The girls, having survived and protected the professor, show their resolve and that this is the moment they need to show everyone why they're special and head off to show the monkey who's boss. Lots of action, going back and forth, girls combining attacks while Mojo shows plenty of resilience. It's jam-packed and cool. Though how the hell is he shooting spikes? And when could he breathe fire? It's enough to knock out the girls as he then pulls a King Kong just to try and win them over again with that "we are different and superior" speech.
Can't you see? None of them will ever understand you as I can. For we are kindred spirits whose powers spring from the same source. So girls, do not make me destroy you. For we are smarter, we are stronger, we are invincible, we have the power, we are superior to them, and we shall rule! All we have to do is work together. Girls, join me.
Not totally bad, but you forgot one tiny little detail that separates them from you.
We'd
Girls, where are you? You were right. We should try and stop Mojo, and I know how. I whipped up an antidote to Chemical X. It'll do away with his power.
How the hell did you get here so fast? For that matter, how did you make an antidote without a lab? Mojo's is destroyed at this point. There's no way you could have gotten back to your lab and back that quickly. Either way, they save him just as Mojo lands on the stuff, reverting him back to his earlier form. Despite the professor being thankful to them, the girls feel they should take the stuff as well, since that way they'd be normal too. However...
Well, don't do that, 'cause that was pretty cool with the...
Girls, I think what the mayor is trying to say is, we're sorry and thank you.
Yes, that was super, just super!
Amazing!
Fantastic! Wonderful!
Stupendous!
You rock!
Thank you.
The only problem with the earlier moral is that when it comes to these particular civilians, they're quick enough to accept anything once it actually benefits them. So how does it end? Revenge!
Sugar, spice, and everything nice. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little girl. But Professor Utonium accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction, Chemical X. Thus Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup were born. Using their ultra superpowers, they've dedicated their lives to fighting crime and the forces of evil.
So that was the Powerpuff Girls movie. First, let's talk in terms of being a fan of the show. In that regard, I feel the movie does the girls a great service in going over what could be an extensive version of their origin story, showcasing the progress they made to earn the trust of the people, while establishing any villains they may end up making. While taking some darker turns than usual, it does end up balancing out with the lighthearted nature that the show usually embodies, and without hurting any of the action. In terms of someone who may not have been a fan, well, I think this would make a good introduction, since it helps establish the kind of humor the show would have, though obviously the difference would be in the budget quality. It's really good here. Even the CGI looks pretty decent. Just don't expect it to be like that all the time in the show, though. Voice acting would take getting used to if you aren't used to late 90s, early 2000s style acting, especially with how the girls speak, though everyone else would sound and act very memorable nonetheless. Like the DuckTales movie, when you have the usual staff working on something this big, it can usually make for something awesome, and this is no exception. With lots of action, great humor, and a good moral, this is one TV-based movie you should not miss. That concludes all the Patreon requested reviews for this month. If any remain by December, we'll do this again. But until then, come back next month where we do something rather special. For until Halloween, where I have my special for this year, we're going to have ourselves a month of werewolf movies. Oh!